And welcome to another episode of GamerHeads. My name is Roger, aka Rogue Leader 76, and this week with me we have the one, the only B Wakefield back from E3.
Hi everyone.
Welcome back.
Yes, thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. I'm missing the heat over there. It's warm here, but it's not as sunny as it was in LA.
Oh, really?
I'm missing... Yeah.
So we have a pretty big show today. We have an interview later on in the episode with Mick Waites, and we've got some GamerHeads news flash items. We'll be talking about Fortnite and other games. But first, before we get into all that, B, tell us a little bit about your experience at E3.
It was great. It was my first E3. It was kind of like Disneyland for gamers.
Really?
There was a giant Fortnite bus set up, a massive Jurassic Park complex set up with dinosaurs. There was Walking Dead zombies walking around. They were really scary in full Walking Dead makeup, kind of lunging at you. I was not expecting it to be such a theatrical experience. I really enjoyed it.
Wow, crazy. So did you get enough time to experience all that? Because I know that you're there for your job, so.
Yeah, I mean, I was working, but I tend to, you know how you get people who will spend all day on the show floor? I tend to like to go around and look at everything once or twice. It doesn't take me long to feel like I've had that experience. I probably spent a couple of hours in there over the 3 days, but that was kind of enough for me to see everything I wanted to see and have a good look around.
Nice. And what was your favorite part of E3?
Favorite part of E3, other than the work-related stuff that I was doing that I'm not really allowed to talk about, it was that I got to play the new Pokemon Let's Go.
Nice.
That was great. I loved it so much. And I met Mario, and I won a PS4. I had a really good time.
Yeah.
Work aside, aside from work, which was great, I had a really good time.
Nice.
I got to do lots of cool stuff.
Yeah, you won a PS4.
I did, yeah. Yeah, that was a surprise.
Yeah. And you had some offers from the Real Dudes podcast, some pizza rolls in exchange for the PS4.
I did. You thought we didn't have, everyone thought we didn't have pizza rolls in England. We do, they're just terrible.
I didn't mean to speak for you, but I did say I don't think that you would be willing to trade for pizza rolls, but, I think it's officially now that you would not trade for pizza rolls for it.
No, I would not.
Cool. Well, I'm glad that you're back. Did you get sick over there? Or from the con, I should say?
I actually, for a few days when I got back, at first I thought it was a jet lag because that hits me pretty hard on the way back because it's a 10-hour flight. And this time it took even longer because I had to stop over for a few hours in a different time zone, so it's crossing a lot of different time zones. So the jet lag can hit you really hard on the way back, but I think I just kind of got germs from the sheer amount of people at E3.
Yeah. My friend who does a lot of cons for board games and such, he calls it con crud, and he always gets sick when he comes back from a con as well. So
yeah, there's just so many people there. Someone's gonna have a cold or something.
Yeah. No, it was weird. Because I saw your post that you were sick, and I had a dream the day before that you messaged me and said, "I'm really sick. I can't record this week," and I was like, "Oh man!" And then you post that, and I was like, "Premonition, man, premonition."
Yeah, it's fully gone now, though. I think, thankfully.
Good. I'm glad. I'm glad that you're 100%. So, I'm glad you're back. So, you've been missed on the podcast.
Thank you.
So glad to have you back.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad I'm back too.
Next week, we will have Ben back, and he is traveling in Seattle right now. I think he's in Canada. That's right. He's in Canada. He's on his death road to Canada trip to avoid the zombies. So he'll be back next week, and next week we will have a special guest as well. So stay tuned for that. Before we go into our interview, then let's go into our GamerHeads news flash.
The GamerHeads news flash.
So I have a few items here, B. If you have other items that you want to bring up, certainly do so. So the first item that I have here is revolves around Fortnite. This made me laugh. Fortnite player sets new solo record of 48 kills. However, it doesn't come without controversy. Yesterday, Fortnite launched an in-game rocket, a one-time event that occurred across all versions of the game and on all platforms at the same time. And players across the world jumped on into the Battle Royale game to watch it take flight. And a group of players built a ramp to watch the rocket, basically calling a truce to watch the event. However, a player took advantage of the situation and took off the ramp, causing all 48 players to fall to their death.
I love that so much. That's hilarious. I also heard that they were also part of the truce and then just backstabbed everyone when they weren't looking.
No.
Ultimate betrayal.
Oh my gosh.
That's how you do it. It's how you do it, clearly.
I know, right? Yeah. And I think the player's not ashamed. I mean, people are really pissed off about that.
I would definitely do that.
I know, me too. So I thought that was really, I mean, and I get the fact that they're upset because this is, a one-time event. So it's not like this is something that's occurring over and over again. So this is, set up at the certain time that people went out to watch this, and then just got taken out. Oh, that is so funny. Have you played Fortnite on the Switch or Fortnite at all?
I've played Fortnite. We've got it on the Switch. I haven't got around to playing it yet, but I do enjoy it. I do like it. I'm not very good. It's tricky. Last time I played, some dude was trying to shoot me, and I took him out with just like a pickaxe, and I was so impressed with myself because he was too close to really shoot me with the gun he had. It wasn't working, and I got I killed him. I was feeling well impressed, and then I turned around, wasn't looking where I was going, and fell straight off the cliff.
This sounds like something I would do. Yeah, I'm not good at the game either. I will say it. So last night I played because I jumped on to see this event and I didn't even know what was going on. I didn't know what time it was. I just jumped on, and I was playing the squad game, and I was playing on the Switch, and there was there was people that were talking, and I didn't have my mic on, and I didn't have a mic or headset on, and this is the reason why I don't play this game, because it was like a bunch of, like, no offense, but a bunch of 12-year-olds that were playing the game, and one of them said, "We need a leader in this group," and one of the 12-year-olds said, "Well, what about Rogue Leader? He has leader in his name. Maybe he could be the leader." And then the other person,
pure innocence.
I know, right? Exactly. I mean, like, that was like, well, he must be a good leader. I mean, he has leader in his name. And then the other person said, "I'm a much better player than that Rogue Leader person." And then they're arguing back and forth, and they both get eliminated during this argument. And I'm like, this is why I don't play this game. The next item that I have here: man gets paid with quotation movie money for his video games. So police are called the Secret Service recently in a town of after a town of Niagara man reported that he was paid with $440 of counterfeit money for his video game system. The victim told police that he arranged on the website Craigslist to meet a man in the Fashion Outlets Mall parking lot to complete the sale. He said he was met with a man and a woman who gave him the $440 and $20 bills for his Xbox One system. The man became suspicious of the money before noticing it was marked for motion picture purposes. He then gave the police the license plate number of the vehicle and the two suspects were driving, and the case was turned over to the Secret Service for additional investigation. Why did he take the money when it says for movie purposes only? Like, wouldn't he have looked at that right at that point? This is weird to me.
Yeah, I mean, that seems like something you would have noticed at the time.
I know, right? I mean, hey, this says for movie purposes only. Hey, come back here. That's weird. I just thought that was a funny story.
Yeah.
Showtime plans a series based on Halo video game. I don't know about that.
I imagine that's going to be the general response. I don't know about this.
Yeah. I think that they're trying to tap into is that fan base, right, of the Halo plant, and they're like, this will make us money. I don't know. I mean, we'll see, I guess. Some series translates well. Like, I think the Castlevania series translates well for Netflix. Sure. And I'm sure that they're trying to tap into some of that, but I don't know. This just seems weird.
I always try and think that it can't hurt whatever they're going to do. It can't take away from the games.
Yeah.
So we can't really lose anything,
True.
even if they're usually not very good film adaptations from games.
Yeah, I mean, look at Assassin's Creed. That was a terrible movie. People would argue with me, but Super Mario Brothers was a terrible movie. Thinking about series and TV series and video games, there was that, I keep bringing this up, but there was the game Defiance that had a TV series on Sci-Fi. Did you ever play that game or ever see the series at all?
No, I don't know about that.
So it was an interesting concept. The concept was that there was a TV show running at the same time that the video game was going on. So things that would happen in the video game would affect the TV show, and the things that happen in the TV show would affect the video game. Interesting concept, but it didn't work. It didn't translate very well, and the show got canceled after 3 seasons.
Yeah, worth a try though.
Yeah. Next item here: Nintendo is considering a successor to the 3DS. Nintendo's president has stated that he is considering various possibilities in regards to the 3DS and believes that the 3DS still has advantages over the Switch. How serious they are about considering the successor is still unclear this time.
Let me buy it.
Really? Would you buy a successor to the 3DS?
Yeah, sure. I paid out for the pre-order for Pokemon Let's Go with the Pokeball the other day. That was really expensive, but they offered it, so I took it. And one of the Krakens was like, that's going to be in a drawer, that Pokeball, within a month. I'm like, what? I need it.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I will say this, like, there are like the 3DSs out there right now that do have like the different, the Zelda one. I think there's a Zelda one, and there is a Pokeball one too. And I totally wanted to get those as well, but I don't know. I mean, I want to get Switches actually for my wife and kids before I probably buy a new 3DS. So
the Pokeball 3DS looks great though, and the Pikachu one.
Yeah.
I have a 2DS right now because I can't use the 3D on it. It messes with my eyes. So the 2DS was cheap, so I just bought, the XL, the big one.
Yeah.
Because they're cheaper as well.
Yeah.
So I was quite pleased with that.
Do you play your 2DS quite often yet, or do you find that you don't?
Not as much as I'd like to.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah, I think I'll bring my 3DS with me, when I'm traveling, because I don't really want to bring my Switch with me because I spent a lot more money on it. It wouldn't feel as bad as if I lost my 3DS. So.
Yeah, and the 3DS is still easier to carry around. It's much smaller.
Yeah, true. My last item here, that Jim Carey is rumored to be playing Dr. Robotnik in the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Did you even...
Jim Carey is great.
Did you know they were going to come out with a Sonic the Hedgehog movie?
Yeah, I was reading something the other day about it being, if I remember correctly, I might be wrong, it was to do with the main human character being a detective and Sonic having to team up with him to solve mysteries. That might have changed since I read it. I thought it sounded quite surprisingly like Detective Pikachu.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's weird because
just with a man instead of a boy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I forgot that movie's coming out too. That's crazy.
Are they making a movie out of that?
Yeah, I know. It's
I didn't know that.
Out of Detective Pikachu, I think. Right?
Pikachu.
Yeah.
Mm.
They have Ryan Reynolds playing the part of Pikachu.
Oh.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. It'd be interesting. I mean, I think that for Pikachu, I think that's gonna be animated. I mean, this could be live action, but I can't see somebody dressing up in a suit of Pikachu. But I can see somebody dressing up as Dr. Robotnik, though. I can see like that happening.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I imagine they're both going to be live action with CG, I'd imagine.
Yeah, agreed. I don't know. It's kind of like the same
We'll
thing.
find out.
Yeah, exactly. This is going to say the same thing that we said about Halo. Well, guess we'll see. We'll find out. B, did you have any other news items?
Only that the new Overwatch hero is an adorable little fatty.
Yeah.
That I want to protect. He's so chubby and squidgy.
Yeah. That's
it's amazing.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's cute.
I wonder how big he is, like how if you could hold him in one hand or if it'd spill over, you'd have to hold him in two and keep him safe.
Yeah, that was interesting. I haven't played Overwatch in a while, actually.
No, neither have I. I've not played it in a long time.
No. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay.
For me, just the hamster.
Okay. Just the hamster. All right, well, let's take a break here. When we come back, we'll be joined by Mick Waites from Four Horses, and he'll talk to us about his project that he's working on. So stay tuned.
Hello, this is Meg Stuyvesant from Small Monsters Games. Our newest card game is Takeout, a social set building game for 2 to 4 players. In Takeout, players are backpackers traveling in China and trying to order delicious Chinese food. Unfortunately, none of you speak Chinese. The object of the game is to get one dish of each flavor, sweet, sour, salty, spicy, and bitter, and a cold drink into your meal, before any of your friends do. To win, use your superior chopstick skills to steal tasty food from someone else's plate, or use a Mandarin English phrasebook to attack your friends. This game was inspired by my years living and working in China. Takeout was a tabletop showcase selection at last year's Boston Festival of Indie Games. You can check out our website, smallmonstersgames.com, or follow us on Twitter at @small_monsters for more. Thank you.
Have you ever been reading through a stack of comics and thought, hey, maybe I should see what this Arkham Asylum game is all about? Or been playing Marvel vs. Capcom and felt like you were at a real disadvantage because you didn't know who half the characters were? Well, Play Comics is the show for you. I'm Chris, and each episode, I take a look at video games based on comic book properties and how well they stick to that source material. So, whether you know the comics and want to actually learn how these games work, or know the games and want to know what the hell is going on, go check out Play Comics at playcomics.com, the Brain Trust Bros Network, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts.
Hey, it's Carrington from Real Dudes Podcast, and with me I have some fantastic co-hosts. Guys, why don't you introduce yourselves?
This is Andrew, coming to you from Lynchburg, Ohio.
This is Cody, coming from you also from Ohio.
And this is Kyle, coming to you straight from the armpits of West Virginia. We are an indie gaming podcast. We all share a love for games, and you can check out our show on Podbean. Just search for Real Dudes Podcast. You can also find us on iTunes, Google Play, really any of the podcasting outlets that you like to use. Again, that is Real Dudes Podcast. Be sure to check us out on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. If you love video games, you will love our show.
What's up, everybody? I'm Tyler.
I'm Lucas. And I'm Chris.
And we're better than Static. We meet up once a week and talk about movies, comics, and video games.
I don't want to talk about that.
Why are you complaining about all the topics I bring up? I'm trying to sound professional, Chris.
But we're not that good.
We are too good.
We may may not be great, but we are better than static.
You guys can hit up iTunes, Podbean, Google Play, and YouTube to check us out.
Remember that feeling of playing an ultra-hard video game and dying? Over and over and over? Ah! Yeah, so do we. Listen to the Controller Throwers podcast on iTunes and Google Play. And check out the live show every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time at twitch.tv/TCThrowers. The Controller Throwers, pressing start since 1985.
And welcome back to GamerHeads. And this week, for our hot topic, we have the one, the only, Mick Waites from Four Horses. Welcome, Mick.
Hi there.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm really good, thanks. It's a good, busy week for us at the minute. I'm feeling very positive. So yeah, it's all good, thanks.
Good. Yeah, we brought you on because on the 5th of July, Miles and Kilo releases on the Switch. So we wanted to bring you on and talk about the game and just talk about it so people can know about the game. So we have a couple questions here for you, Mick, and I'll start us off. So people that have not listened to the podcast, if this is the first time you've heard the podcast, maybe people don't know about Four Horses. So can you tell us a little bit about Four Horses? How did your studio start, and how did you get into gaming?
Okay, I'll try and be quick because I'm nearly 50, so it's a long story. So I grew up with video games. I was at the right age to be playing Donkey Kong and Space Invaders and Pac-Man as arcade machines when they were brand new. I loved the fact that I could control what was going on a TV screen essentially, and I got quite fascinated with it. I ended up getting a home computer of my own, and through typing in listings from magazines, programs that people had submitted to magazines, I sort of worked out what they were doing and how they worked. And for me, writing games was always the natural thing to do, because why would I write a spreadsheet program? That's boring. So so yeah, I've always been a hobby programmer in my professional career. It took quite a long time to actually get a job as a programmer, because I don't really think I believed in myself enough, which is a bit of a shame, but that's how it was. But when I came to learn the C programming language, I thought I'd set myself a challenge and actually rewrite a game that I used to enjoy playing in the early days of computing, which I did. And then, since it seemed to be of a reasonable quality, I decided that it might be a good idea to add a few new mechanics in there, change the graphics, change the themes a bit, and my first full game, Digger Dan, was born. I managed to get someone to publish it on my behalf on DSi, and then through the fact that I'd made that game, I was able to get a job in the games industry as a programmer then as well, and got my hands on some 3DS development hardware. So I converted it over to 3DS, but I wasn't able to find anyone to publish it for me, so I set up Four Horses just to be a solo publisher, essentially, developer publisher. And that's it. Four Horses is just me, and an extremely small office. It's about 6 foot by 6 foot. I've worked out, packed with as much tech in it as I can get, and I'd like to make games for consoles and get them out. So yeah, that's Four Horses. That's where it came from.
Nice. So just a quick follow-up question on that. So do you find that, so you learn programming through basically learning other people's games and their mechanics? Is that correct? Similar to like how musicians learn music.
But in some ways, yeah, the programming more, because obviously you can't see the source code so much. You can sort of see what goes on in the game and be inspired by it and think, oh, I know I could do that. But the actual languages themselves is just by doing it, really. Fortunately, the internet's a great resource now, so if you get any questions, you can usually get an answer very quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty much all. I like to say it's all self-taught, but it isn't really now, because I'm working alongside other people. You learn a lot from them very quickly. So I've got certainly picked up some better practices in my programming from other people.
Nice.
But yeah.
Nice. Could you give us an overview of the new game? So the premise of the game, what kind of game it is, and what audience is likely to appeal to? All the juicy facts.
I'll do my best. I'm rubbish at the marketing side of things, so which audience it appeals to for me, I'd like to think it should be anyone. Okay, so Miles and Kilo is a super cute platform adventure game, sort of in the style of Adventure Island or Wonder Boy, if people remember those games from the past. It is a sequel to a game called Kid Trip. I'm not sure which sequel it is. We're thinking it might actually be game 3 or 4 in the series. We've skipped at least one game out there. I say I'll get on to that. Miles is been forced to crash land on an island, and his plane's been raided by a bunch of bad guys. So he goes out chasing them down, hunt back parts of his plane. So you sort of run and jump, smash your way through walls, slide on zip lines and swing on ropes, and every now and then you'll meet up with Kilo, who is Miles' pet dog, who sort of drags Miles along at high speed through the levels non-stop, and also can sort of attack. He can spin attack baddies in a similar way to, say, Sonic in some of those 3D games. The game was originally created by a super talented individual called Mike Burns, who developed Kid Trip. I think he was still at school, and I was very fortunate in getting the chance to bring both games to console, because they need to be played by people on console. They play a lot better on console, and they deserve a bigger audience because he's a super talented guy, and they're both great games.
Nice.
I think it's correct to say that it would appeal to everyone, because for me it's challenging enough to appeal to adults, but also adorable enough to appeal to a younger audience and me.
Yeah, agreed.
It is one of those games that it's not deep in story, it's not deep in complexity. You could just pick up, play for 5 minutes, play for an hour, play for however long you want, and enjoy it and feel that you're getting somewhere with it. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, agreed. So you mentioned Kid Trips. Kid Trip, not Kid Trips. Kid doesn't trip. How was the response? How has the response been to Miles and Kilo versus Kid Trip? And do you think Kid Trip has helped Miles and Kilo in any way?
It's really too early to say. As you said, the full launch is on the 5th. We're a couple of days away from that, and the game has been available to pre-purchase, and so far that option hasn't been taken by a huge number of people, and I'm wondering if it's just simply the sort of game that people aren't that worried about pre-purchasing. I can see that maybe working better for big time. I mean, people are going to be pre-purchasing Metroid 4 when that comes along, and part of the reason for that is it's going to be a big download, so they'll be able to get it downloaded and sat there so they can play it bang on midnight. As fantastic as Miles and Kilo is, I don't think there's going to be many people waiting for the clock to tick over to midnight or whatever time so they can suddenly play it. So we took the option to do pre-purchase simply because it was almost as easy as ticking a box on a web page, and we never really thought about whether anyone would actually be that interested in it. So far it's not too promising, but I'm not letting that discourage us. I think it's just that, like I say, I don't think pre-purchase maybe was the right thing for this game.
But I will say this. I will say that I saw a lot of Twitter tweets, I guess, on Twitter about the game. So yeah. I feel like there's been a lot of talk about the game, at least. So.
Yeah, certainly. We're doing everything we can to spread interest. One thing that's different from our point of view is I've got help with the marketing and PR this time, which is certainly not one of my fortes. So yeah, hopefully we're doing a better job of letting people know about it, because I think ultimately that's the barrier for sales for these games. It's nothing to do with quality. It's just how many people actually get to see them, because I think they're great games. We've put a lot of love into them. They've been certainly developed over a long time. I think the original Miles and Kilo took Mike about 4 years to put together. So Well, like I said, they've had a lot of love put into them.
Talking about marketing and PR leads quite nicely into the next question, which was, what are you doing differently now in regards to the release of Miles and Kilo versus Kid Trip?
It is exactly the PR that we've got a bit of a more focused strategy for trying to get people to hear about the game. And something we didn't do with Kid Trip is have any sort of special offer. It's not been on sale yet on the store either. It's something I'm really loath to do because I'm not a fan myself of buying a game on day one on an eShop and then finding that 2-3 months later it's half price or whatever. I feel like I've been cheated then somehow. So I've not been keen to get Kid Trip on sale, even though I know that does usually prove effective. But with Miles and Kilo, with there being so many other releases coming out on the eShop at once, we wanted to make it stand out. So we have done a couple of launch deals. One of them is that people who buy Miles and Kilo who don't have Kid Trip can then download Kid Trip completely free. People who do already have Kid Trip will get 50% off Miles and Kilo because we didn't want people who'd already bought one of our games to feel, again, that they were getting cheated and weren't getting any benefit because they already had Kid Trip.
Mm-hmm.
So
nice. So you mentioned Michael Burns. How did your relation start with Michael? And do you have any other games that you two are planning to work on together?
Well, it started a long time ago. Visiting Nintendo Live quite frequently. I'd started answering questions in the forums. I think it's probably because I knew I had... Yeah, because Digger Dan was out on DSi when Digger Dan was potentially coming to 3DS at the time. I was still chasing publishers. So I was doing my own little bit of PR, essentially, on the Nintendo Live forums, trying to get people interested. And I think I probably saw his icon for his avatar, which would have been Miles out of Kid Trip, and he's a super talented pixel artist. He's really, I mean, the stuff he creates is just so cute. And I was certainly drawn to that, and then I'd see what I figured were mock-ups of this game, because clearly someone can't be that talented at art and be able to design and program the game as well, but it turns out I was wrong, and he was in the process of making this game, so having access to 3DS hardware, I sort of said, if you're ever looking for a 3DS version of this, give me a shout. I would love to work with you on that. And I got him to send me some of the source art that he had, and I put together a stereoscopic image of it that you could see on the 3DS screen to sort of show what it would look like. And he told me at the time that unfortunately he'd agreed with a different company to actually get a 3DS version out, and I was. My thoughts were, it's a real shame. I would have loved to have done it, but fair enough. I wished him well with it. And then years later, I was reminded of the game's existence and then thought, whatever happened to that 3DS version? So I chased him down and said, is that meant to be coming? He said, well, it's supposed to be, but I've just not really heard anything from them for a while. And I talked him into sending me the source code with no promises just to see what I could do with it, and I managed to get up and running. Well, fully working in a month. So he was quite impressed and decided that maybe I should do the port after all. So, nice. Yeah, that's how that started. I think a further part of your question is, are we working on anything else together? Well, future projects have been discussed. There's absolutely nothing set in stone. As I've said, the original Kid Trip took him 4 years. I think Miles and Kilo probably took him about 2 years. But there is a story we'd like to tell of. Have you seen to the end of Kid Trip yet, Roger?
I have seen the end. On the last level. I have not beaten the last level. I want to throw my 3DS across the room when I'm trying that. So.
It's quite difficult. I'll accept that. So something happens during the end of Miles and Kilo that doesn't directly follow on. The end of Kid Trip that doesn't follow on into the start of Miles and Kilo. There's a story to be told in the middle, and it would be potentially a very different game to Miles and Kilo and Kid Trip. So we've talked about that. We feel that that's potentially quite a big project, so we probably wouldn't look at tackling that, but we have bounced a few ideas off each other for games we've had in our heads that we could maybe do something short and sweet in the meantime, just to develop a bit and get used to working with each other directly, because obviously Mike finished both Miles and Kilo and Kid Trip before I ever got my hands on them. So whilst we have sort of worked together, it's not really been as much as a collaborative thing as it would be working with the game right from scratch.
Sure.
So yeah, there's some ideas there. We both enjoy working together. It motivates you to be working with someone else.
Nice.
Yeah.
I know we have already touched on both these points, but if we can just do it quickly again to really hammer the point home. When does Miles and Kilo come out, and what special bonuses do people get by pre-ordering early?
Well, it's July the 5th, so it's this Thursday, or the Thursday just gone, depending on when you're listening to this, or months ago, depending on when you're listening to this. But it's not very far away, no matter when you're listening to this. So yeah, Thursday the 5th of July in the American territories and in Europe. The game is localized into just about any language you could possibly want. And for the bonuses are not just for pre-order, they're also the offer's going to run for the first week after launch as well, till July the 12th. And that is, if you haven't already got Kid Trip, once you've purchased Miles and Kilo, just go find Kid Trip on the store and it will show 100% discount and you can buy it completely free. If you have already got Kid Trip, you'll get the value of Kid Trip taken off the purchase price of Miles and Kilo. And again, that'll be automatic. As soon as you find it on the store, it will show that discount.
So, Mick, what's next for Four Horses?
Immediately next, I need to learn how to use Xboxes that are in front of me, and this PS4 that's in front of me, and the Vita that's tucked away in a drawer next to me. And I need to get Kid Trip on those and see how other audiences take to the game, because as much as we've had nice success that we're happy with on Switch, hopefully it should be a relatively easy job now to get up on other systems, and we'd be daft not to, really. But the longer term future is really sort of dependent on how things go now with the new platforms and with Miles and Kilo. Quite simply, if it does well enough, I can make games faster because I can quit my day job. If it doesn't, it's going to take me a lot longer to get games out. I will keep making games. Nice. We like making games. I keep saying we, it's just me. I am Four Horses.
Well, thank you so much, Mick, for coming on the show.
As always, thanks for having me back. I think I've been here more than Jake now.
I think you may have, actually. So, listeners, go out and get the game Miles and Kilo. It is available on the 5th of July on the Switch, but you can actually go ahead and pre-order it right now. So again, special thanks to Mick for coming on the show, and you'll hear more about the game from us as well. Thanks, Mick.
Thank you.
Before we leave, then, I wanted to go through what games we're currently playing, and what are you playing right now?
I'm playing God of War right now.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
On your new PS4 that you got?
Yes.
And?
It's great. I mean, I've seen the other God of War games played through, but I haven't played them through myself because they were a little bit too violent for me. Just the way it was put across was a little bit too violent for me. But this one tones that down a lot, so I'm able to enjoy it. So I appreciate that.
I need to pick that game up, actually.
It's really good. I'm really enjoying it.
Oh.
There's lots to explore as well. Far more than I was expecting.
Oh.
Brett's playing at the same time, and we're kind of trying not to get too far ahead of each other.
Oh yeah.
To get
Yeah, it's like a TV series where you don't, if you're watching the same TV series, you don't want to get too far ahead. So.
Yeah.
How far are you in the game right now?
I think I've played about 5 hours.
Wow.
Not too far in.
That's still a lot, considering all the stuff you've been, you've been really busy.
Yeah, it's the only game I've really had a chance to play. I kind of committed to it instead of playing. I tend to play a lot of indie games in small bursts when I get a chance to game. But I decided to just commit to God of War.
Yeah.
This last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
It's so pretty as well. It's really pretty.
So do you have is your new PS4, is that a Pro or is that a regular?
It's a regular. It's, you know, the Days of Play limited edition one, the Slim.
Cool. Nice.
The blue one. Blue and gold. It's that one. Yeah, it's really nice.
And so is it just as pretty then? I mean, so like, I don't have a PS4 Pro. I just have a regular PS4 Slim. So is it? So you're saying that it's just as good? I mean, does it, regardless if it's the PS4 Pro? I'm sure the PS4 Pro is, you know, a little bit better, but it still looks good on the regular.
Yeah, it looks great. Nice. Especially when you get into the photo mode.
Oh yeah, have you been taking a lot of pictures?
Yeah, it's got a really cool photo mode.
Oh, nice.
I'm enjoying it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can get creative to pull different faces, like a face filter.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. And would you say you had to play the other God of War games to be able to enjoy this game, or no?
No, I mean, seeing the other ones played before, I kind of have. It's more that you've got kind of a wider knowledge of where Kratos has been and what might have happened, but you definitely don't need to. It makes it clear that something's going on that the player doesn't know if they've not played it, but I get the feeling, I imagine it's all going to be explained so it makes sense standalone.
Nice. Yeah, I definitely have to pick that game up. Yeah, it looks good.
It's great.
Anything else you've been playing, or is that pretty much it?
That's pretty much it, to be honest. I played a tiny bit of Hollow Knight, which I love so much. Everything about it is amazing. But when you die, it puts you back to the checkpoint, which can be quite a way back, and I just didn't have time at the time to keep replaying bits if I died.
Yeah.
The checkpoint's quite far back, but it's a beautiful game.
Yeah, that's a game that I want to pick up too. That looks amazing, so...
It's so nice. I definitely recommend picking that one up as well.
Are you playing that on the Switch then?
Yes, on Switch.
Nice. That's out for other consoles too, right? I think.
Yeah, I believe so. Yes. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think it's out on the PS4.
Nice. Yeah. Gosh, man, there's so many games I have to play. Do you have anything else I should... You don't have to, but if you have any other games.
Any other games to recommend? I've not played anything else other than the demo for Detroit.
Oh.
That's the only other thing I played.
Really?
Have you played that?
No.
Yeah. I loved it. It was great.
Really?
Like, absolutely loved it. You just play as Connor, the detective from lots of the trailers, and you just kind of investigate a crime scene. I love, like heavy rain style investigations. I really enjoyed that a lot.
Wow.
I'm gonna pick that up when I've got a chance to play it.
Are you? Oh, did you say you're gonna pick that game up when you get a chance to play it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that game looked interesting too. My only concern with games like that, I guess not really a concern, but that once you play it, like, there's not much more you can do, right? Because there's not a whole lot of replay value to that game.
I was talking about this the other night because obviously people are saying it's got playability, choices you make have different outcomes, but that I don't personally think that necessarily means it has replayability, because it doesn't mean you're going to be willing to replay the whole story again, or each section again, just to get a different ending. I don't think multiple endings necessarily means it's got that appeal to replay.
Yeah, I forgot that does have multiple endings, but yeah, I agree. I mean, it's like, yeah, I mean, there was a game a long time ago that we played called the 11th Hour that had multiple endings, and we would try to get the different endings, but yeah, after a while I was just like, okay, we got the best ending. I don't know if I want to go back and see. I ended up just watching them on YouTube. So
yeah, and I do think a lot of people want to, especially with such big games, they want to craft their own story, so they're just going to watch them on YouTube, I think, rather than replaying them, because then it kind of feels like they've lost some of their story if they're just going back after they finish this epic, like, cinematic experience to go back and get a different ending. I think people are more likely to play their story, have it, and then look up the other endings.
Yeah, agreed. So, anything else?
No, I'm really done for real this time.
So I've been playing Stardew Valley. That got me hooked back into the game. I did go to the flower dance, and nobody danced with me.
Oh, it's not just me then.
Yeah. No, I was really because I was really working to build a relationship with somebody. And then I went up to ask her to dance, and she said, "Ew, gross, no way." And I'm like,
it makes me feel like I'd done something wrong in the game, like I played it wrong.
I know, right?
That's what I mean when I was like, this game stresses me out, and you're saying, how can this game stress you out? I feel like I played it wrong because no one would dance with me at the big event.
I know. Well, and then so this is the funny part. The character that I was trying to dance with, so she has a sister that they live together, and so I've been trying to court both of them. So trying to play each other off each other. Say,
is that where one's quite nice and one's kind of mean?
Yes.
Yes.
So I've been trying to, I don't know. I just randomly pick somebody to try to, sway them or whatever. But then I was like, "You're gonna say that to me? Ew, gross. Well, guess what? I'm gonna hit on your sister now."
What she gets.
Yep, that's right. That's right. So I've been playing actually quite a bit of Stardew Valley. I don't know. I mean, I think that I've been listening to the Controller Throwers podcast as part of the Crossplay Compatible network, and Mike from that show was talking about how he was trying to court Penny, one of the characters, and just the things that were going on in the game. It just sounded really funny, and he got so angry at her, like his story about how he was like trying to court her, and then she asked him to show up at her school to give a presentation on farming, and then like one of the kids said, "Oh, do you like her?" Because the teacher was like playing around with or hanging out with some other guy, and they were giggling and laughing, and he was like, "What?" And he said,
do you have the option?
Well, I'm sorry.
Do you have the option to then confront?
Yeah, I don't know if he did or not. But he did go on to say that like he was never been that, like he's been, like, I think he said he was that angry, as much as angry as he would be with a real relationship, like real ex-girlfriend somewhere. That was hilarious. So that's why I started playing Stardew Valley again, because I was inspired by his stories that he was telling. And then I picked up, and I'm probably gonna mispronounce this, Lumines? How do you pronounce that game? I don't know.
Oh,
Lumens. Okay, thank you.
That's how I pronounce it.
Okay. So that's on a Switch, the remastered version, and that's an interesting game. I thought that was fun.
I've not played it.
Oh, yeah. It's a puzzle game. So it was on the PlayStation Portable. That's where it got its start, but now this remastered version has some additional items in it too. So it's a fun game. That's an interesting game. And then I've been trying to dabble in Fortnite, but I'm so terrible at it. So, yeah.
Constantly getting owned by all the kids.
I know. He's rogue leader. He should be our leader. All right. So that's what I've been playing. And you can tell us what you've been playing and what your thoughts or anything that you want to talk about on our podcast. You can reach out to us. You can reach us at GamerHeads PC on Twitter. You can email us at gamerheadspodcast@gmail.com. And you can also go on Facebook too at facebook.com/GamerHeadsPodcast. B, how can people get a hold of you?
I am on Twitter at B_Wakefield.
Nice. So yeah, reach out to us. Let us know what you think. Tell us about what games you've been playing. Give us feedback. We'd love to hear feedback as well. So yeah, or you want topics that you want us to discuss, send them our way, and we'd be more than happy to go over those topics. All right, so B, so much. Can't talk today. Thank you so much for being on the podcast, B.
Thank you, Roger.
Yeah, welcome back, and we'll be back next week. Ben will be back, and B will be to, and we'll have a special guest next week. So stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for listening to GamerHeads, and GamerHeads out.